Okay, we are live. Welcome to Fleet Live Office Hours. Still trying to get organized, but let's get going. Glad you're here. Glad you can make it. Thank you for tuning in with me. I'm not a professional, professional personality, but I'm trying my best. So my goal here is to kind of get more engagement from our users, have another avenue for people to ask questions and find out more about Fleet. Kind of the original goal is for this live stream is to be answering technical questions and maybe dig into some things that people want me to dig into, whether it's deployment, configuration, code base, anything Fleet related, culture even. I may not have all the answers, but I will try to reason through things or point you in the right direction. Let me double check my audio. Maybe I have OCD. Settings. Now let's just roll with it. Looks reasonable. Okay. Yeah, so I'll be glancing at the chat once in a while. If things are quiet, then I'll work on some bugs or features from Fleet's GitHub issues. Feel free to hang out and see what I'm hacking on. Occasionally, other people from Fleet do drop in to help out. All right, so that's the intro. I'm still here. Let me move this today's plan. Yeah, I don't see any questions in the chat right now, but I will be glancing at it once in a while. Let me do this. All right, so questions. I'm just gonna put it up there in today's plan. That's always an option, but I do wanna take a look at a bug that we found. So we have been trying to improve our performance. So for example, if I go, let me make this bigger. What am I doing? There we go. So we've been trying to improve the performance, and I think last office hours I did show a little bit of improvement. I wasn't like crazy about that improvement. We're going to improve things a little bit more. So as our customers get more devices, more things into Fleet, we want to make sure our API endpoints are performant. So most recent issue we fixed was related to Linux kernel vulnerability. So if we go to our software tab and we click on OS, we have different OSs here. This is just my local environment. That's why there's not anything a lot here. And if I click on click on Ubuntu, you see there's multiple kernel versions. So some of our customers have actually a lot of these. They have hundreds of kernel versions. Like you can easily imagine if someone's if a customer is like using their own kernel versions, they're doing their own compiles. Also in the development environment where they have Linux hosts that may be using different kernels. And sometimes people don't clear out the old kernel, so they could have a Linux OS that has 100 kernels on it. But we do need to support that. So in that case, if we go to the previous page, in this case, if an Ubuntu version has hosts with hundreds of kernels, each of those kernels could have vulnerabilities. So this number would go up a lot, right? So we have optimized for that case. And one of the optimizations we did was this page was optimized. Another small optimization we did, which still needs a little work, if we go over here to the next page, we're limiting maximum vulnerability to 3, and this works fine for Ubuntu because each kernel comes in on its own. However, this is not working so great for, say, Mac OS, because once again we're hitting max vulnerabilities 3 here. It's not working so great, so we want to see if we can fix this. for Mac OS, since it doesn't have kernels split out, for currently, we just want to return all the vulnerabilities and not just 3 like we were doing for Linux. And I think for Linux, we don't even need to report 3 because Linux has a separate, actually returns kernels separately. So we don't need to have that aggregated vulnerabilities returned for Linux at all. We're just interested in the kernel vulnerabilities. It's kind of a difference between OS vulnerabilities on like macOS, Windows, and Linux. On macOS Windows, there's vulnerability feeds that give us vulnerabilities for that specific version of the OS. On Linux, there's all these distributions, so vulnerabilities are largely kernel specific. So you get vulnerabilities for specific kernels. Okay, so let's dive into this. So let's see. I've asked my agent to improve this, but clearly it's not working. So let's see what it tried to do. I'm just have some other stuff going on here. Let me close all tabs. Close all tabs. So let me kind of explain what I think should happen. I think what should happen is once we come to this page, we should do a request with max vulnerabilities equals 0. These are going to be missing, and that's fine. But what we want is we want the vulnerabilities count, and we want the platform. So if we see a count, and we see that the platform is non-Linux, I think we have a helper method for that. Then we do another call where we remove this max vulnerabilities parameter at all, and we get all the vulnerabilities. So that's what I want to happen. Let's see if we can make it happen. Okay, let me see where that would be. Get OS version. Yes, that's what we want. That's relevant. Who is calling this OS version? Track whether we need to fix all vulnerabilities. This is software OS details page. Yes, this is right? Software OS details page. Is this the right page? Let me look. I'm not like super familiar with our front end, so I'm just learning things as I go. Just trying to see where that page is. Front end pages, software page. Front end pages, software page. Okay, let's go there. I think I can do this. Front end pages, software page. Software page. We come here. Software OS table. Okay, and then I think this is software OS details page. That makes sense. Software OS details page. Okay, well, let's take a look at this. So we're getting OS version details here. Use query. Okay, I'm not seeing the changes being reflected. I have compiled it here. This is Fleet 3. Yes, this is correct. So the code should not have this 3. Right? Let's put in 4 here. See what happens. This is recompiling. Okay. We are running on localhost, so let's go ahead and reload this page. Okay, we are getting a 4 here. So okay, so I'm not crazy. This is working. So the initial fetch should have 0. Initial fetch should have 0, so we're actually gonna default this to 0. Right, that makes sense. I want to find where this is being called, get OS versions, get OS versions, get OS version, get OS version, show usages. It's being called from here. He's saying here we need one max vulnerabilities, set max vulnerabilities. Initial state 0, yeah, that's what we wanted. We want 0 initial state. Max vulnerabilities we call get OS version. We pass in max vulnerabilities here from this query key. This query key is coming from where? Query function context. From here, max vulnerabilities should be 0, right? What is use state? Okay, we have a use effect. Yeah, set max vulnerabilities undefined, and then we refresh. Okay, so I'm not an expert on this, but it doesn't seem to be working for me. I'm going to spend a little more trying to get into this before looking into another topic. So what do we know? If we're still, this is either 0 or undefined. Did we just not refresh it? Was it just not refreshed? 0 is the default. Let's remove the default. Let's go back, remove the default. This gets refreshed. Go back here, reload this. Wow. Like this happens sometimes. It looks like working, that's good news, but I'm kind of frustrated because like, I swear this code was loaded and was not working. So what I'm seeing here, let's just clear everything and reload. So fresh reload of this page, Mac OS vulnerabilities. We go down here, we see first call, max vulnerabilities equals 0. Response comes in. We got the vulnerabilities count of 255. And then the page makes another call, and then it gets all the vulnerabilities. Yes, let me do one thing. Let's mess with the network. Let's add some throttling. So we want to be 3G. Let's see. 3G, reload this page. This is localhost, shouldn't be that bad. So I should have cleared this, but let me. What's pending? This is pending. Bundle.js is pending. Maybe too slow. I don't even care about bundle.js. I just want to look at the loading indicator. Just make sure it's not messed up. Okay. How big is bundle.js? 8 megabytes. Oh gosh. the slow 4G. Okay, the loading indicator. Okay, so I guess I'm not able to test this correctly. Like it's been pending for a long time, and then things just happen, and I don't really see what happens with the loading indicator. Let's see if we can get help here. I want a delay. Maybe I can do a delay. I want a delay 1, 2, 3 seconds. So I want to add a sleep here. How do you do sleep in JavaScript? This is line 222. This is what I could Google it. Add a 5 seconds sleep here, which I will. I think it's like time.sleep. I don't remember. How do I sleep for 5 seconds in JavaScript? Who's faster? Yeah, okay, I remember this. Set timeout, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that makes sense. This has been reloaded, so let's go back and get no throttling, clear all this, reload this page. Okay, so what we want is we want a loading spinner here, right? So clearly it's not working correctly. So when we are refetching the vulnerabilities with max vulnerabilities undefined, we still want the loading spinner to show. I don't know if that's enough. Let me see. When we first fetch it, where's the original loading spinner? We refresh. I don't even see it. I mean, I think that's full stop. We still wanted the loading spinner to show as if the page was still loading, as if the original call to OS versions was still loading. Anyway, I think high level, we kind of solved this issue. We just need to kind of iron out these details, but it looks like it's at high level, it's working fine. And I wonder if we can just continue testing just to double check. So we go back software, OS, Windows, 5 second timeout. Come on. Should have gotten rid of it, but we need this for testing. Okay, software, OS, let's go. Linux should not be refetching, so it should just, yeah, it does not refetch. Linux we see right away. The other ones, it fetches without vulnerabilities, then refetches with vulnerabilities. Do we have an OS without vulnerabilities? Okay, this Windows version, so that should only load once, right? Bam. No vulnerabilities detected. That's the right page. Okay. Okay, I'll zip this up later. I mean, we might come back to this. It's just so tempting to come back to this. Okay, okay. Refreshing state. Show loading. Okay, where are we using show loading? Okay, let's try this. What am I doing? Just want to double check, make sure it's reloaded. Okay, let's go back to our favorite, Mac OS. Nope, not working. Oh, okay, okay. I had to reload the page so get the new bundle ng. Yeah, it's good, right? That's what we want. This one we get right away. This one with vulnerabilities. Initially we see there's vulns there, we refetch it. We get it. Ubuntu, we get it right away. Okay, cool. 1122. Do I want to check this fix in? I feel like I want to look at it a little bit more. Just so I fully understand what's happening here. I don't want to rush this fix. It's not that many changes, and I'm not a front-end expert. So for the purposes of this live stream, let's go ahead and look at something else. OS vulnerabilities, let me mark that as an X. Let's look at Okta conditional access. So Okta conditional access. So we spoke about it last couple of live streams. That's kind of one of the issues I've been working on, and I'm on other things. That's like a big feature we want to ship. Basically, when you trying to log into Okta, into some corporate app, if your device is failing policies, failing some specific policies, so like my device is failing 3 policies right now. If it's failing some specific policies that an IT admin configures, then you will not be able to like log into Okta until you fix those policies. So a big part of that feature is the configuration space, and that's, we kind of started looking at it last live stream. And once again, I'm not a front-end expert, but I feel like as people are starting to use AI agents more, software engineers need to kind of spread and be able to be both front-end and functional, kind of spread horizontally into their capabilities. So I am trying to kind of ramp up on my front-end, at least awareness. So let's jump into see where I am with the front-end stuff. So we have, let's go back to Figma. So we have Figma. So this is Figma. Let me go back one spot. So we have a fleet server. This is where we are right now. We go to our settings, integrations, conditional access, and we support conditional access for Microsoft Entra. So I have it actually configured here in my local deployment, but we're now adding Okta to this. So we're talking about this page, integrations, conditional access. And this is where we're going to configure Okta, Okta conditional access. And I was made aware that the saying the term Okta conditional access makes people think of Okta Verify. So just to clarify, we're not using Okta Verify here. We're gonna, instead of using Okta Verify, we're gonna use Fleet as our factor. So like a factor, like you have a 6-digit code or or whether you have a biometric or a YubiKey or something. So fleet server is going to be a factor when a user, an end user in a corporation is trying to log into Okta. Okay, so we're talking about this page here, conditional access, and we're going to change it. We're going to add Okta here, and then when you click connect, that's going to bring up modals. So let's see where we are right now. So we are, let me think, we are using this tool called Storybook. I'm trying to see whether I have it open or not. I think I have it running. Let me go back here. I have Storybook running. It's erroring. So maybe it's not going to be an exciting demo. Let me try to really launch it. npm run Storybook. It opened up a tab in a different browser. I'm going to bring it here. Okay. The Storybook, there's no styling here. I wonder if it comes in later. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we're using Storybook just to see kind of the design of our components. So we're gonna have this connect both. During connecting, we're gonna see this. Is this correct? Microsoft Enter on top and the text on the bottom. Just want to double check. Yeah, that looks correct. Okay. Then we get a check mark if it's configured. This is all fine. What we're interested in is the models now. So when we click connect here, we put in your enter ID and then we click save. It's not hooked up here, so we can't see it. When we click connect here, we now see this modal. That wasn't great. Like I clicked over here, oh, I see. When I remove focus, it runs validation. Everything becomes red. I think that's fine. Do I need all of this? Okay. So how does this compare with this? So we want a download page, which we're missing. It keeps putting this period in the end. To configure Okta conditional access, follow instructions in the guide. So let's remove that period. To configure Okta, follow instructions in the guide, period gone. Real time, nice. We're going to download the certificate. Okay, so there's this thing with a tooltip we're missing. We're going to provide Mac profiles, but we don't say this is Mac only yet. Initially, it's going to be for Mac. So I feel like this is not quite correct. We need to say that this is Mac, for Apple specifically. I'm going to make a note to follow up. Profiles for Apple only. Security, I didn't provide this SAML. Yes, that's correct. Okay, I think what we have now doesn't quite match here. Doesn't quite match here. Okay. IDP ID assertion consumer service URL. Casing is wrong. Should be an upload and not this. Yeah, like it's good for an agent to like generate this, but it's wrong. I think it's close. Let me see what it did exactly. Updated the styles, added some styles. Okay, it added some styles. Added all these. That's fine. Okay, this is fine. I'm gonna review this later. This is a lot of changes, right? And this is the new model. By the way, it's probably too small. I apologize. Let me do file view appearance. 125%, okay. This is 200-page file for this model. Errors, that's fine. Form data, render flash, okay. On input change, we validate, that's fine. Like all this stuff, right? Help text, like where's it getting that? I mean, that's easy to clean up, just remove it, but still. So let's not dive into this. Like, yeah, we can continue talking about this. There's also the backend part to look at. I wonder if that's interesting. So let's just leave this front end part alone. Let's just give one instruction to our agent. Right, the Okta conditional access model doesn't quite match what we have in Figma. Take a look at Figma and make sure our version matches the Figma, right? So I do have a Figma hooked up to my agent, because over here you go, I think you just see this. It's like, it's right in your face. MCP server enabled. Local server, so my agent is locally talking to this Figma desktop app to get this data, to get all the text and everything. It's doing stuff, okay. Okay, so let me think. Do we want to talk about Okta more, or do we want to move on to something else? What do you guys think? I also feel like I'm jumping OS versions, Okta front end. We're going to jump to something else. Like, I don't want to over Okta this this live stream. Let's look at bugs. Let's look at other stuff. Well, actually, hold on. Can I even look at other stuff? See, what I'm doing here is I've got one repo for OS version stuff. One repo for Okta front end. I'll get back to this. And one repo for the Okta backend. So this is the front end vulnerabilities backend. So I need to free up an environment. So I've got three environments, and I can deploy from 3 environments. But let's go ahead and look at what else we have going on. So we have our board. So this is for the security and compliance team, but feel free. I can also look at bugs from other teams if people are interested. But we have plenty of bugs on this board, so let's not explore this time. We have like 25 issues, including bugs estimated, that we want to start working on next sprint, which starts on Monday. And we have a few things we haven't estimated yet. We could start working on them right now. We also going to be working on Android certificates, so deploying certificates to Android devices from Fleet. So we're going to be working on that next sprint, and that involves actually having an agent on the Android. So, I mean, like FleetD, but not like FleetD, but only specifically for certificates. And that's kind of almost strange. We don't have our current FleetD agent does not like manage certificates, does not fully manage certificates, but in this case, the Android agent will be there specifically to get a certificate from Fleet or via proxy to another CA and install it on an Android host so that customers can then use that certificate for VPN, Wi-Fi, and other purposes. Okay, but I wanted to look at something lighter. This is like a big thing that we still need to kind of figure out how we're going to build that. I want to look at something lighter. We have other performance issues we can look at. And so oftentimes what we do is we also filter these bugs by customer. So we say label customer -star to just look at issues which we actually don't have that many issues that have a customer label on them. This label is just an alias to a customer. Red Hat kernel is not reporting vulnerabilities. Let me see, we got 42 minutes. Let's take this one because I think it's easy. Okay. So TLDR, so in our deployments, sometimes we see that there's more vulnerabilities in our database. So what I think is happening is like end users are like updating their software. End users are updating their software. And when you update your software, you get a different version, and that version is going to have different vulnerabilities. Probably previous vulnerabilities that you had are now being fixed. So I feel like the old ones are sitting around. So I think what we want to know initially is like, is this a miss? Like, is this a miss or is this a bug? Are we actually trying to remove the old vulnerabilities, or are we just like letting them sit around? That may determine how we fix this. I made some comments here. There's a lot of comments. Okay, let's start clearing out our workspace. So I want a workspace where I can work, and I'm going to potentially make changes there. So I have Fleet 3. We did the OS version stuff here. So what I want to do is I want to check this code in for later. So I'm going to do new branch. Here's what I do, new branch. And I usually put my name in front because that way I can sort my branches easier. So there's an issue associated with this one. I'm going to go and take a look at which one that is. It's actually on my board. Current sprint me. This is this one. 35166. 35166. And I say 31566. And this is like OS version max vols. Okay, so I create a branch. Check in the fix. Fix is fix non-Linux, not displaying all OS versions. Commit and push. And why don't we just like take this a little further, and we're actually gonna do a pull request. So we're gonna go to GitHub. I mean, this is how it works. This is good demo if you're gonna be making fixes in the code base. And GitHub tells me right away that I just push this, and I just do a pull request. 31566. And I'm actually just gonna do a draft because, like I was saying, I wanted to kind of review this, maybe dig into some of the syntax, some of the details of the changes, because I'm not a JavaScript expert. So it's gonna take me, so it's not that many changes, but it's gonna take me a little longer than just a cursory review, just so I understand the changes themselves. But that does not prevent the CI from running, right? CI from doing all the checks. It does not also prevent me from saying things like at CodeRabbit AI full review. It does not prevent me from telling our AI agent to do a full review of these code changes. All right, so the whole purpose of this sidetrack was to free up a workspace for me. I have 3 workspaces. So this one's now freed up to look at clear /clear. I'm going to close all of this, close all tabs. So the first question we want to ask is, how do I word this? Are we not cleaning up vulnerabilities, right? We want to work on this bug. And the question we want to ask is, first, I want to understand if we have logic to clean up stale software vulnerabilities in our code base already. Please check. For example, when an updated software version is ingested from a host, do we clear the vulnerabilities associated with the previous version, right? I wonder what this is, in index.d.ts. Okay, so while it's doing that, what I want to do is see if I can find this information myself. How would I do that? Software vulnerabilities. So we would delete them from the vulnerabilities table. Vulnerabilities table is software CVE. So we want to see everything we do with software CVE, specifically interested in deletes. So if I search for software CVE, I want this to be in the text. And then we have a lot to look at. Let me double check any comments. No comments in the chat. welcome everyone who's watching. I'm hoping you're having a good day. We got 15 more minutes, so here's your chance. Okay. Right, but I don't care about the usage and comments. Okay, I don't care about using your comment usage and string contents. Okay. Markdown file, join, inner join. What is this? Select, join, insert, update. Update is interesting. Update with new resolved in version, not what we're looking for. Delete, this is what we're looking for. Delete software vulnerabilities. Deletes the given list of software vulnerabilities. Okay. Delete out of date vulnerabilities. So yeah. Okay, this looks like what we want, right? This should be cleaning up our software CVE table so we don't have all these stale vulnerabilities. So who's calling this? Find usages. Matching rules, CVE. Okay. Check custom vulnerabilities. Matching software against custom rules. Okay, that's custom rules. Microsoft. Okay. Some specific stuff to Microsoft. So this is not the general case. How about here? Delete any stale vulnerabilities. A vulnerability is stale if the last time it was updated was more than 2 times periodicity. This is exactly what we want. Delete out-of-date vulnerabilities source, NVD source. Okay. Yeah. Start time. Okay. You know what? We have a separate issue where sometimes vulnerabilities are missing. I wonder. Sorry, feeling a little tired, need to sit down. I wonder if this is the reason. Translate, we delete out-of-date vulnerabilities. Let me think. We have our Tim, one of our great engineers, is working on a similar issue right now. He's working on vulnerabilities disappearing, but it may be that the root cause of this issue is this. Updated at less than the time that we provide. Okay, where does the time come from? Start time. The name is a little confusing. Start time. I don't know what would be better. Is that the only place it's used? Start time. Start time. Tools. Okay, so it's this cron, translate CPU to CVE. Check NVD vulnerabilities. Okay, start time is here. Start time. Okay. Okay, NVD vulnerabilities. So that deletion is only for NVD vulnerabilities, right? That's the only place we saw it. Or and custom source. Okay, custom source also gets a start time. Get current time. So the issue here is, what if the time of the server is not the same as the time of the database? Time now, select now. Okay, okay. Yeah, we get the database time, so it's fine. Okay, so we're supposed to delete. Okay, so the point is we're supposed to delete vulnerabilities that have the NVD source. We got 8 minutes. We're deleting vulnerabilities that have NVD source, which is called 0, source 0. Okay, I wonder if that's the default. So if I go to my database and I go to, what is it? CVE, software CVE table. Go to software CVE, I say source. Okay, where source equals 0. So we like updating the timestamp of every vulnerability we have. Every vulnerability we have. Okay. So let's go back to the bug. So I did a little bit of research here. So I'm saying if I run this, I'm going to get some software vulnerabilities that are orphaned. Okay, so let's go to our console here. I run this. I apologize for the small font. Let's make it bigger. So we have 5,000 orphan CVEs, but these are probably not count. What we want is where host ID is null, and what's it called? Source. From where h is null and sc dot source. So I expect this to be close to 0. I apologize, man. Haven't been sleeping. Okay. Interesting finding. So this issue is for other sources. Like source 1, which is Ubuntu oval source. Okay. In fact, it's mostly for those. we do source here? sc source as source, where is null. This is how we do this, right? Group by source. This is how we do this. Huh. Okay, so this changes the bug. Changes the bug. I need to update what I found to the bug. I think we just have enough time to do this. So we're talking about delete out-of-date vulnerabilities. So we have it running for NVD source and custom server source. Okay. So I think it's just a miss when we added these other vulnerabilities. We missed clearing the old ones. Blah, blah, blah. Let's just add it up here. It looks like this is an issue for non-NVD and non-custom vulnerability sources. For the cleanup for NVD sources happens here. Just gonna copy, which means so we can take a similar approach with the cleanup of other sources like oval, etc. Yeah. And the other thing I said is, the other thing I'm concerned about is whether this is not working. Like, for some reason we are deleting all vulnerabilities. Like, for some reason over here we're like not adding them. Insert software vulnerabilities, adds it one by one. You know how long that'll take? It adds one vulnerability at a time on duplicate key. Oh no. Okay. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is that this is not database time. Previously, that start time was database time, but this time right now is server time. Okay. That's a corner case. It's a corner case. We're adding vulnerabilities using server time, and then we're deleting them using database time. So it's quite clear that maybe we're going to delete a bunch of vulnerabilities we shouldn't have deleted, right? Okay. Yeah. Thank you, guys. That's all for today. Thank you for tuning in. You know, feel free to, like, I put up these live streams earlier, so feel free to pre-fetch questions, pre-fetch topics you want me to ask about. I think the chat is like available, so I will see them. And see you guys next time. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching.